Greetings, mortals. It is I, Remortis, and I wanted to wish you a happy holidays and especially a Merry Khornemas. Today, I'm bringing you another Rogue Trader guide. This time for something special I've been working on, and keep in mind this is just the Theorycraft version of the build, and there will be a much more thorough video of this build at a later date. I just wanted to get something out for you guys for Christmas coming up, and I'll be away for the next couple days doing stuff with the family and all that. So, without further ado, let's just showcase the build. So, essentially, it is a dual-wielding Khorne Berzerker, or at least the best I could try to make in this game. So, for the home world, we went with the Deathworld, and we'll go over these reasons why in a moment. For the origin, we went with the Minisortum Priest, and then we decided to go with the Warrior and to an Arch-Militant. So first, let's go over the Deathworld stuff. Alright, so one of the main features of the Deathworld is Survival Instinct. Once per combat, once the HP of your character drops below 30%, you'll get a 20% maximum health shield as temporary wounds. And then Deathworld also gains a bonus to dodge and armor if they have at least one temporary wound from any source. Pretty sweet. Furthermore, we'll get an ability called Wounded Beast, where anytime you get an injury or a trauma, you'll get bonus agility and willpower based on how many injuries and traumas you have. It's currently stacking fairly well, and I actually think it is almost completely fixed, because I remember seeing it, I think it got ninja fixed the other day, but either way, it's still pretty cool to have, so even if you are getting hurt, you'll still get some bonuses from it. And the actual bonus willpower will be important, since we're a Minisortum Priest. And then another ability we're going to acquire is Lifetime of Scars. Deathworld characters will take less damage from toxic, bleeding, and flame. This is important as there are some items that will be using this build that make us bleed, including stimulants and some armor pieces as well. And then there's also another fun talent called Brutal Hunter. You'll get 50% extra critical chance against things that are bleeding or with less than 50% health. We will be picking this up eventually, just not too early. And then there's some fun Minisortum Priest abilities as well, such as just your little aura feature. Let me see if I have it right here. War Hymn. It'll grant you momentum, and it gives you additional for any target nearby within 5 cells, or anything that you hit this turn. It's a nice little way to help boost out your ultimates pretty early. And then as for talents that affect it that go with this build, Cleansing Faith. Anytime you do melee, flame, or melta attacks against demons and psychers, you'll deal additional 24 damage and 24% armor penetration. And what is that based off of? Well, it's your willpower bonus. So currently, I have willpower bonus of 4. That's a 3 times bonus. That's actually not correct. Wait, no, that's 6 times. Sorry, 6 times. 6 times willpower, so that's doing it for both. Interesting. Such attacks against Xenos deal an additional 4 and 4 damage and armor penetration. What is that? Calculation. Doesn't say. Furthermore, we have Litany of Hatred. Eventually we're going to get this. I haven't gotten it yet on this build. The devotee and their allies of the area effects of your War Hymn will gain bonus damage from single attacks or single shots and attacks of opportunity. With this build, we'll be alternating between our Chainaxes and our one-handed Meltagun, so this is going to be pretty sweet. And we're also going to have a few ways to enable attacks of opportunity. Then we also have Emperor Protects. The devotee gains 4% chance to ignore enemy attacks, only because we have a 4 willpower bonus. But through buffs from our Dira, our Psyker, as well as Cassia, our Navigator, and also the officer stats stuff that they give there, we can get this willpower pretty sky high, especially with Wounded Beast as well. So I think eventually this will end up being a fairly reliable 20 to 25% chance to just flat out ignore damage, which is really good for our Berserker. Alright, so let's get into the actual build itself. So, like I said, we started off with a Warrior. It just made the most sense just because it gets abilities like Charge and Forceful Strike and Reckless Strike, which are just going to be really good for your doing some pretty solid damage. As for your talents, I decided to go with Coercion and Athletics and Carouse. And then maybe 1 point of Medicaid down the road, just so you can stim yourself with medication every now and then. Or medkits, I mean. And the Coercion is for an item piece later in the game, so that's just something I know about from playing my other playthrough. Anyways, For our first talent that we're going to be able to pick up, I picked up Epicenter of Slaughter. It just makes sense for this build. What that does is gives us 1 stack of Epicenter of Slaughter whenever we're attacked, and at the start of your turn, you'll gain temporary wounds for each of these stacks, and it cannot exceed your toughness bonus. While it might not seem like the most important talent, it's just pretty nice just to get that, just a temporary wound point from any source, so that way we can get that bonus from our Deathworld. Not an amazing talent, but it's still nice nonetheless. Then moving on to level 5, we'll pick up Open Engagement. If there are no enemies adjacent to the warrior at the start of your turn, the warrior's damage is increased by 2 times your strength bonus for 1 melee attack. This is pretty sweet. It goes combos really well with charging in, since you're going to be typically at the start of a fight, you're not going to have anything near you, so you get that bonus from charging. And then we'll also increase our strength, and then following that, we'll pick up the talent or the ability Forceful Strike. You'll deal an extra. You enhance your attack to potentially push your target. It's pretty sweet because pushing things typically makes them prone after they fall and collide into something, and if they do collide into something, they'll be taking extra damage. It's really good for early CC in the game. And then we'll keep increasing the talent we chose from earlier, so here I decided to go with Coercion. And then next, I increased our strength, and I picked up the common talent, Combat Master. Since we're going to be in the thick of it quite often, this will make it so that enemies can't get melee superiority against us. Very important. I believe I decided to increase athletics here. Yep. And then I picked up Impetus. The damage dealt by charge is increased by... I know it says +0 there, don't mind that. It's your toughness bonus and your strength bonus. And the ability, if this ability is used from 5 or more cells, that's pretty much your almost max range in your charge. It combos really well with our Open Engagement, and you can do some pretty incredible damage with your charge with this. Oops. And as for our ultimate, I decided to go with option 2. Until the end of combat, the warrior will gain 4 movement points for each kill, and you can just keep moving in between targets as you kill them. Second, after that, at level 10, we decided to pick up Crowd Kill. Area of attacks deal additional damage for each enemy in the area. So basically, pretty much the idea is you want to get thrown into the thick of it, have Cassia buff you with her officer ability, and what's it called? Break their ranks, I think. Let me double check. It's right here. Yeah, break their ranks. So whenever your character is surrounded, you use their officer to use this ability on them, and you'll get enhanced damage multiplied by the number of enemies in the area. And that bonus damage is equal to the officer's fellowship bonus divided by 2. So eventually, usually in the middle of battle, she'll actually get a little bit higher fellowship than that. So they'll be doing 4 damage at least to all their attacks, not just for melee attack. Oh no, it is all melee attacks. Not just for your single attacks, but also AoE attacks. And you'll get this at least 4, maybe 8, 12, depending on how many people you get surrounded you. And then on top of that, if you had used Voice of Command before you use this ability, they'll get an attack of opportunity on top of that, which actually combos with a lot of other stuff in the build. Alright, let's get back to it. So we got Crowd Kill for extra damage, since once we get to the Arch-Militant, we'll be swapping between single target attacks and cleaving attacks, although cleaving attacks do cost 2 AP, so be mindful of that. And then we decided to increase our weapon skill, so that way we can make sure things don't parry us as much. And to lean into that Reckless Strike, we decided, to lean into that Berserker type feel, we picked up Reckless Strike. The warrior's next melee attack gains a ton of armor penetration, extra damage, and ignores a parry chance. And any enemy who survives with the attack from this ability will attack the warrior in return. Includes creatures with ranged weapons. However, I haven't seen any people with ranged weapons attack me, so you can still safely attack them. I think it depends if they're using shotguns though, so be careful with those. Those could probably shoot you still. But if a weapon usually has minimum range, most likely most enemies do not have the correct talent to actually shoot you in point blank, so don't worry about using that on ranged people. But shotguns, watch out. So not only will we do a really nice attack with this, but we'll also make it so the enemy attacks you, which actually can help us later with some other talent choices. And then because we have things attacking us now, and we're probably going to get injured either from traps or from just being hit, Wounded Beast is an obvious pickup. Furthermore, we'll keep increasing our weapon skill, and I decided to increase top off our athletics for this as well. Alright, so now that we're being attacked fairly regularly by using Reckless Strike, Whenever an enemy attacks the warrior's next melee attack against it deals additional damage based on your toughness bonus. It doesn't stack, but it can be reactivated after another attack made by either the same enemy or a different one. So a nice little combo here is, say the enemy attacked you last turn, you'll already have your contempt bonus, so then you attack with a reckless strike, you'll get the contempt bonus from that hit, and then they'll hit you again, and then your next attack after using that will also get the contempt bonus. And then we increase our carouse. And to round up our stat increases, we increase our toughness by 1. And then picked up the heavy armor proficiency. And now there are quite a few more talents that we want to pick up for the warrior. We weren't able to pick it up this time around, so we'll pick some of these up in our exemplar levels. And to finish off our warrior levels, we decided to pick up the bottom upgrade for the warrior. This turn, melee attacks will deal extra damage based on your strength bonus, divided by 2. Pretty solid. Daring Breach is a really great ultimate. Warriors are a lot of fun. And then we move on to our second archetype, the Arch-Militant. So the main feature of the Arch-Militant is versatility. Whenever the Arch-Militant uses an attack that's different from its previous type, whether it be a melee, a ranged weapon, an area attack, an area shot, or burst, etc., you'll gain 5 stacks of weapon skill and ballistic skill for each stack of your versatility. And then if you have 4 or more, you'll deal additional damage based on whatever your highest skill is between weapon skill and ballistic skill. So the really cool thing I like about this ability is that you can totally use a one-handed weapon and a pistol and generate combo stacks just fine. Alternatively, you can also just put your pistols or whatever in your secondary position. Say like this, and oop, that's a two-hander. Wait, that's not right. Oh, that was a two-hander. All right, there we go. So we can totally just do dual wielding 2 weapons here, like these chain weapons, and then alternate between the pistol and our little power guy right here as well. There's a lot of items that actually benefit this, and we'll get over that into a moment. But let's get back into the Arch-Militant for now. All right. So depending on how the battle's going, typically you'll come in there, you'll charge with your character, so that counts as a single attack. And then afterwards, with your main attack, after the charge, you'll use either a sweeping attack with your melee weapon, or just pull out your pistol and shoot with that, because that can be typically cheaper to do an AoE attack or a range attack with 1 AP versus the melee cleave, which is 2. I know it might be a lot to take in right now, but I'll showcase this in a moment in some footage. As for the first ability, I just really love Kick. This is a really funny ability to me. It can't be dodged. Well, actually it can, I think. No, it can't be parried. It says it doesn't say anything about dodging, but I use this on high dodge targets and it seems to always hit. I've never seen Kick miss. Kick is hilarious. It has a good chance of kicking an enemy away from you, and usually when that happens, there's a really high chance they'll fall over and fall prone. It is amazing, especially in the early game when you get the boots that make your charge a 1 AP cost. This is fantastic with it, because then you can kick an enemy away and then charge into them and just deal some extra damage. It's a lot of fun. Really great ability. I love it. Sure, these other abilities might be better, but Kick is just hilarious, and then it just always provides really good CC. It is fantastic. All right, so in my playthrough, I'm using a Heretic run, because in the prologue, you have an option to acquire a Heretic pistol. That's really nice. It takes a second to get to use it, because you need to be the second tier of your Hereticus. I believe it's right here. Adherent. Doesn't take too long to get to, but once you can use it, it is quite nice. It does solid damage, but more importantly, it does a lot of armor penetration, and it also has a nice AoE attack that it alternates between your pistol and your AoE attack. Costs only 1 AP as well, so it's really fantastic pistol. Nice early game weapon to pair with another melee weapon, and also to just keep stacking your stuff. All right. And then the first talent I picked was Broad Expertise, which will enhance your weapon skill and your ballistic skill based on whichever one is higher. That way, our pistols can hit reliably, as well as making our weapon attacks more deadly. Now, granted, it says at the start of combat, which can be a little bit of annoying because once eventually we're gonna get really sky high ratings of this. If only this actually updated itself in between each round, that'd be phenomenal. But that's never gonna happen because that would make this talent insane. Anyways, broad expertise will help you land your pistol shots and make your weapon attacks hit a little more often. Even though it's based on half of your whatever or double your bonuses, it still adds to the skill, which is quite nice. I really quite like it. All right, their ultimate is actually really good. It doesn't really become amazing until you hit about level 27. Yeah, 27 is when you get your first upgrade for the talent. All it does is makes it so your first attack after using this ability will cost 0 AP. This happens on every turn, and it is amazing for this build because all of your big 2 AP cost abilities will be free for this one, and it will be triggered on any extra turn as well, not just your own. So this is really nice, even for stuff like move, move, move. So that way you can move your character over, do a nice free attack, and then give yourself an extra turn after that, and then keep on going. It's a really great ability, but typically you're going to use the warrior one first, or you might use this one once you get the first upgrade, and we'll get into that in a moment. All right, at level 20, we get another AP, always great, and we'll keep further increasing our strength. And then the first another talent we pick up is martial art. The targets must pass a toughness resistance test with the penalty of 0. That's not correct. Or fall prone. I don't know why that's bugged at the moment, but usually they fall prone anyways. Whether they hit stuff, if they do hit stuff, but this will help it just even further ensure that they fall prone. Pretty fun ability. I love kick so much, as I mentioned before. And then we'll keep increasing our strength. And then next, we'll be picking up Confident Approach. Although picking up this early may not be the best choice. I think Reckless Rush might be better, actually. Devastating Attack is also really good, too, for this build. Honestly, all these are great, but we're not going to be picking Cautious Approach at all with this build, just because we're a Berserker, damn it. We got to be Reckless. So maybe Reckless Rush is the better option in the early game, because the way Confidence Approach works, it changes all your versatility stacks into dodge and parry reduction, which can help you do a little bit extra damage by negating that stuff. But furthermore, all your attacks will score critical hits, but the damage is reduced, and then you can increase that by or reduce that reduction by increasing your critical hit chance. And our critical hit chance right now at the point of getting this talent or this ability is not the highest. So maybe it might be good to pick it up at this next ability in our Arch-Militant levels or in our Exemplar. But Confident Approach is going to be amazing with some of the other items and such that we're going to have at our disposal to really abuse this. Then I picked up the Cleansing Faith ability from our Priest, so we can start shredding stuff against Psychers and Demons. And typically with this playthrough, I would do a lot of dangerous paths while doing the warp travel, so we end up fighting a lot of warp monsters and demons through those random battles, just to get a little bit of experience each time, but also get a little bit more scrap. That way we can sell it to our reputation vendors. And then we increase our athletics. And the next talent we get is Adaptability. Gaining a stack of versatility increases your critical hit chance until the end of turn. So this is pretty good to help after you use your ultimates, whether it is your warrior ultimate or using an officer ultimate, and then just keep increasing your crit chance. I mostly picked this early to kind of help offset the Confident Approach negative effect from the damage reduction from your attacks. But Adaptability is pretty solid. Next, we increase our toughness to round it out. And then I picked up Lifetime of Scars. Deathworld characters will take less damage from flame, toxic, and bleeding effects. The reason I took this is for an item I'll showcase in a moment after we get a little further with this build. And then I picked up the counterpart to Adaptability with Critical Versatility. It'll enhance our critical damage by 3% for every stack of versatility we have. And this will be maintained when we are under the effects of either of our approaches. And we furthermore increase our athletics and our weapon skill. And then our first ultimate upgrade we picked, we take the bottom one here. The Arch-Militant can use both the heroic act of the Arch-Militant and the previous archetype, so our warrior archetype as well, in a single combat. But you can't use them both on the same turn, so keep that in mind. You can use either one once per round. If you're able to get your ultimate up really quickly, definitely use the Steady Superiority and then try to follow up with the warrior one later. especially if it's going to be a longer fight. Those extra attacks are just going to add up every time you move yourself with your officer and things like that. Some other talents that we're going to want to pick up. As you see, I'm only level 27. Eventually, I'll have a much more thorough video after the holidays, where I get to spend more time and really get this to max level, so you guys can really see it in action. We'll be picking a lot more of our Warrior Priest abilities here. We might pick up Brutal Hunter from the Deathworld, but Wounded Beast and Lifetime of Scars are the main two that we needed to pick up. Litany of Hatred is going to be a good one to pick up. Litany of Purification is not too necessary. If we were more of a taunting Warrior Priest, then Litany of Purification would be really good. Shield of Faith is going to be a good pickup since we're going to be fighting a lot of demons, and also permanently increasing our resolve will be very useful to help stack those ultimates even quicker. And then obviously the Emperor Protects is going to be a really good one to pick as well. I'm not going to pick it just yet. I'll probably be picking it up in the Exemplar levels. As for more of our abilities, or more of our talents from the... As for more talents from our Arch-Militant, we'll be picking up things like Await Orders, or Contempt for the Weak is going to be a really good one, especially since we're going to be pushing people around a lot and proning them. Calm and Steady is going to be a really good effect as well. While under the effects of Confident Approach, you'll keep half of your bonuses from the versatility. Since it swaps when we use the critical or Confident Approach, we'll still be able to maintain some of our weapon and ballistic skill to make sure we help negate those dodges and parries with having higher skill. As you see here, it'll increase your parry. It increases their increase your parry and then reduces enemy parry and dodge chance against your melee attacks, which is pretty sweet. Same thing goes with your ballistics skill. It will reduce their chance to dodge, and you have a better hit chance of hitting them. Oh wait, no, that's perception that reduces dodge. My mistake. But either way, increasing your weapon skill and your ballistic skill through versatility is really nice, especially since we're going to be alternating a little bit using ranged. Mostly we're going to be trying to focus on using our dual wielding Chainaxes or swords, depending on what you find. And then as for our Exemplar levels, there are plenty of really good things in here to pick from. One of the key ones I really know I'm going to get is Disastrous Collision. When the target is pushed by a character and collides with enemies or cover, both the target and the object they collide with suffer additional damage. So you can throw them in, kick them into explosive barrels and make it explode. You can it can hit other people and just do extra damage. It's gonna be really funny, especially with our martial arts and kicking in the forceful strikes. There's some other stuff in here too. I will go over later in the full video, but I just wanted to showcase some of this stuff for now, so you guys get an idea of what I've been working on. All right, let's look at some of the items that we have. So currently, I've been using a Chainaxe and my Corrupted Inferno Pistol. Honestly, we need to get a replacement for this Chainaxe. It's the 10 to 16 damage ain't cutting it anymore. No pun intended. Here's one of the pre-order items that are pretty solid. It's not amazing, but sometimes if I have an extra attack, I'll use this on them so I can get 15% extra damage on them. Pretty nice. Then I got this power axe pretty recently. I'll probably be using this in place of the Chainaxe. I just have these at the moment. And then we have some interesting items that kind of goes with our Warrior Priest side of things, especially with having a little bit more higher willpower. One right here's the Requiemator. When the wearer kills their target with a melee attack, all enemies in a 2-cell range around the wearer suffers bonus damage equal to our willpower bonus. And with Cassia and some of our other bonuses going on, I've seen this do quite a lot of damage. And if you kill multiple people, it will make people explode for each one hit. This is an amazing item. I don't think I'm ever taking this necklace off of him. I did pick up an interesting accessory piece called the Accuser of Sin. Your charge ability will grant additional damage based on your willpower bonus against demons and Xenos. If you know you're going to be fighting against those, this can actually deal some solid damage on your charge, even more so than your other all the other stuff. And then we also picked up Combat Manipulator. It's another accessory. Whenever the wearer uses a non-attacking consumable, such as stims, medkits, etc., it'll count as something for your stacking your versatility. So you can use it in between your attacks and still gain your versatility. Which Stimulant are we going to be using a lot? Well, here's one here called Crimson Haze. So you can get this from one of your colony managements, and it will keep replenishing over time every time you go over and look over at your colony after you travel. What this does, it makes you suffer a little bit of a bleed, and as long as you're bleeding, you'll get 100% critical damage. This is huge, and especially combining with our Deathworld talent to reduce bleeding effects, you are not even going to feel a thing. This is an amazing stimulant to use, but you have to be a heretic to use it. It's really nice. And then if we don't have Crimson Haze available, I use Onslaught. It will immediately increase your movement points and grants you 2 slash abilities of slash, which is the breakthrough warrior ability. I don't think that slash portion is using just yet, probably because usually this character doesn't have breakthrough, so maybe it's not registering that I got those 2 charges, so I don't usually use Onslaught that often. I do use Scorcher, however, and this basically gives you a pretty nice ability to reset all your cooldowns and just do a little extra damage. Scorcher is pretty solid, but ultimately we'll be using Crimson Haze or other stimulants. And then because we're a heretic, as you can see over here, the first tier of being a heretic is resource preservation. You have a 20% chance anytime you use a stim or a med kit to preserve it, so that's pretty nice, so that we can keep your stims a little bit longer sometimes. I've seen it trigger probably 3 or 4 times throughout my game. You probably could save scum it if you really wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend that. All right, moving on. Our gloves we found. We have a more weapon skill and strength. Pretty nice. And then a nice cloak we get. We got it from our devotion to the Pirates of the Void. That's going to be the main faction we're going to be looking for, by the way. There's a really nice weapon I'm going to show you guys in a moment. So this one's really nice because whenever the wearer has 2 melee weapons equipped, they'll gain 10 weapon skill and 15% critical damage. I think you're seeing a bit of a theme here, making ourselves bleed and doing not the critical damage. I did pick up these Arch-Militant boots. Whenever you perform an attack after a range attack, you'll have a chance to make him prone. Pretty nice. But we're going to be replacing these boots with something later, which I'll show you in a moment. But for now, let's go look at our reputation with the Void. For armor, I'm just using this armor. It's just really solid, to high deflection and solid armor. It'll make you survive quite a bit. And then the helmet I have is just a minus penalty to perception. I'm sure I have other stuff that's probably better, if not just as good. Like the Face of the Sovereign. I mostly might want to use it just because it looks way cooler, and it also gives you a little bit more resolve whenever you kill things. Pretty nice. Doesn't really matter which helmet you're using at the moment. I use the perception one just in case I don't end up killing things, so that negative penalty to their perception is pretty nice. Anyways, let's go look at the Void, and I'll showcase what we're working towards. So at the time of this playthrough, we are currently probably about 3/4 of the way done with our Act 2. We got 4 of our planets good to go. We're making different choices. Oh, it's not. Let me show you. There we go. So I picked up this one, Cutthroat. We get more critical damage. The Extractum Metallica. I mostly want this one just because it gives me more rep with the Explorators and doesn't really block any other projects that we really care about. Vigilance is just a weird attacking ring. We don't really need that. These grenades are pretty nice, but I felt like I didn't really need them in the end of the day, since I'm not using grenades that often. The stims I am using, however. And then I picked up Envirodome. So what this does is will give us a little bonus to Carouse and toxic damage resistance. Why did we get that? Well, in order to get Blood Sports, we needed to have Envirodome. And Blood Sports gives us a nice little 2-handed Chainaxe. Honestly, I wish it was a little more damage, but, you know, it's a nice little upgrade. I use it quite a bit sometimes, depending on how many enemies. If I feel like I'm going to be fighting a lot of enemies, like an AoE, then this hack and slash is fantastic for that. I feel like its damage should be a little higher than it is, but sadly, we do not have that luxury. As for Janus, or I don't remember how they pronounced it. Was it Janus, I think? Anyways, mostly we picked up things that gave us drugs, such as Scorcher, or the med kits. So every time we come back to Janus or come look at it, we get a little refreshment of our med kits and our Scorcher. I also picked up the Dogmatic Psyker helmet. It's a really nice helmet to have. And Yeah, so that's the route we're going with that one. Dargonis, however, this is our most important one, since it will give us Season of the Wars. This is pretty solid too. It gives us more melee damage and more damage on our bonus attacks, or attacks of opportunity. Pretty sweet. This one doesn't really matter. And here we go, Crimson Haze. This is a really important one. This is the one that lets us get a little more profit factor, get us a little more heretical, but also makes us this wonderful stimulant. This is fantastic. And then Faustone, I just had to do some other stuff. I really want to try this Accuser of Sin, and I'm going to test it out a little bit when we fight some more Xenos and Demons. And as for our actual reputations, let's go take a look at those. Come on. Alright, so here are our reputations. Like I said, we're nearing the end of Act 2. I'm mostly focusing on the Fellowship of the Void. However, the Derusians and the Explorators, they're getting their reputation mostly increased from my projects, from my colonies. I'm not even touching the Casbalica. I don't care about them this playthrough. Why do we care about the Fellowship of the Void? Well, A, we got a lot of really good items and armor that we wanted for our main character, and some of our others as well. That swashbuckler cape that enhances our dual wield usage is really nice. But the main reason we're coming down the pirates line is for Carnage. Can't really show it to you. Oh yes, I can. It actually does show it here. So it's a pretty solid Chainaxe. 17 to 27 damage is pretty decent and pretty respectable armor penetration for a chain weapon. More importantly here, look at that bottom. Each successful hit with this axe increases critical damage of this axe by 25% until the end of combat. So you just keep stacking this up and you're going to do some really crazy damage. I can't wait to show that off to you guys later. And then whatever mechanical things I have to turn to these guys, I will, like the Mechanics Creations. Everything else I give to the Void Pirates. I can. Pretty much everything goes to them, so let's show you an example of that. So we go to Reputation, we just literally just give them everything. Everything we can. Oh, and that too. Look at that, we're almost at 14. Did we actually get anything? No, we're almost at 15. All right, and then one thing to note too for the Navy, they only take heretic trophies. So whenever you finish ship combat, you get the trophies for them, but it doesn't automatically put it into cargo for some reason. So you need to go to your other thing, and in the other tab, sorry, and it'll be in here, and you can set them all into cargo, and then you'll be able to submit that and get your reputation. All right, so for our explorators. Look at that, we got 2 Mechanics Configurations, and there we go. You can add there. One thing to note, though, as well, is if there's any stimulants you don't use, a lot of these are Mechanicus creations. Look at that. We can keep generating stuff. And a lot of these I keep generating all the time, so I'm not too worried about it. Look at that. So we can technically max our Explorator by using those things to create. But we'll get into that in a second. All right, the Drusians. As you can see, I just give them the holy gifts. Anytime I get a holy gift, I give to them. Sometimes I'll save some jewelry and give it to them as well. But most of their stuff is things I increase from getting more of our colony things, sorry. Yeah, so Carnage is the main reason we're going this way. It's pretty sweet axe. I can't wait to use it. And I got one thing else to show you before we depart for our footage. Let me go into my other playthrough. Alright, so here are a pair of boots I'm going to be using later in the game. They are called the Spiked Boots. At the start of combat, the wearer inflicts bleeding on yourself, and then whenever the wearer performs an area of attack, they inflict bleeding on all targets hit. And the area's melee attack also deals additional wearer's bleeding level percent damage. So I'm curious if this bleeding boots will stack with that bleeding stimulant. I have a feeling it will, and I'll let you guys know when I find that out. But that is part of the plan for the build, and yeah, I'm excited to try that and showcase that to y'all. In the meantime, please enjoy this footage of some combat I've done so far on the Khorne Berzerker in unfair difficulty. Please like and comment and subscribe if you guys would like to see more builds like these, or to see more guides like in this fashion. Or comment down below on how you think I should make this build even better later. I will be making a proper video for this build, but I just want to get something out for you guys for the holidays, and since I'm going to be doing stuff with my family a lot. Anyways, again, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, as I mentioned before. It really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate all of you guys reaching out to me and giving me all this feedback. I love you guys. I'm really enjoying my time here on YouTube. And again, happy holidays, and until next time, farewell for now.
The Emperor commands. And so it shall be done. Rejoice in service.
I am a navigator,
I
not a
am the
servant.
chosen weapon that will crush the heathens.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Your defiance is futile.
In the name of House Orcelian, I shall prevail.
I will not be deterred. The Emperor commands. Let this be a warning to all who oppose us. And so shall it be. Your corrupt way has failed you. Let this be the warning to all who oppose us. Rejoice in service. I shall endure everything with unshakable faith. And so it shall. You have been judged and found wanting.
You jest, surely. I can do that. Going somewhere? I'd like to, but I can't. Am I getting paid for this? Tell me, and it is done. I can do that, with the right incentive.
Actions will speak louder than words. I will not be deterred. And so shall it be done.
Don't get too cocky.
Your end is nigh. My armor is contempt. The Emperor commands. And so it shall be
Heal
done.
my wounds.
Rejoice in service. I will not be deterred.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Your corrupt way has failed you.
The darkness.